I'm Cheryl Ede, and I want the sweat of our laborers and the genius of our scientists applied to renewable energy technology and stem cell research, a U.S. version of the smart car, and a public transportation system that works for us, so the hopes of our children are not squandered on wars generated by presidents making bad decisions based on poor judgment and faulty information. Now, on January 15th, the Bush administration announced that it was confident it would get congressional approval to sell $20 billion worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia. So the country that doesn't let women drive, the country that spawned Osama bin Laden, the country that was home to most of the attackers on 9/11 gets $20 billion of weapons. And we get to worry, is there any other Saudi that wants to do us in? Would we be better off having a Peace Corps mentality than having military outposts on every continent, namely where the oil is? Are we asking the military to do something that they are not equipped to do? Because presidents know they're the commanders-in-chief of the very best military in the world, and sometimes presidents have special projects. But does it make us safer to be distributing weapons all over the world? Do other people mind that we have bases all over the world, as I said, every continent? Now, my campaign is a grassroots campaign. I'm counting on people sending my website and my name, whether or not you are in the 50th district. You know people that are in the 50th district, and that's what I'm counting on. And because I'm asking people to do that, I think you need to know something about me and what I want to accomplish. Now, like you, I am who I am to a large degree because of the people I love and have loved and the people who love me. They all become woven into the persons that we become, and they are the reason that I'm here. Now, when I was a 21-year-old college senior about to graduate, I applied for the Peace Corps. I accepted a job to teach history in the Houston Public Schools, and I looked into the requirements to be a Foreign Services officer. When I got the Peace Corps acceptance letter to go teach English as a second language in Africa, I didn't have the courage. And all it took was my mother to say, "Cheryl, you never liked to camp out," and I was headed for Houston. At the end of that first year of teaching, on Memorial Day, the young man I wanted to marry was shot down in North Vietnam, along with 7 other crewmen. Rocky Edmondson is one of those MIAs forever. His remains were never found. 2004 presidential election that brought me back to wanting to be involved in the world directly. With Bush's preemptive war, alongside Kerry's words as a young man, how do you ask the last man to die for a mistake? That resonated with me. So I was a volunteer, I worked on his campaign, and I also initiated a special project that began because of an article I read, an investigative report in the New York Times, October 3rd, 2004. It was about information the president had prior to his words that we might see a mushroom cloud. It said that our nuclear experts in the Department of Energy had determined that Saddam did not have nuclear capability long before the invasion and those words were spoken. Those same experts were forbidden to speak to the press or the public under the guise that if Saddam knew what they thought, he would know what to say to the weapons inspector. So I decided that I would inform San Diegans with help from others. And thanks to email messages with other Kerry volunteers, I forwarded a letter around that had some of the details of that report. I suggested we purchase an ad so it would be in the paper before the election. I collected $2,740 from 48 people, and then a few people dropped off cash at my in my mailbox. They didn't want their names. They wanted the letter in there. And it was in the paper on October 31, 2004, before the election. There are other reasons that I want to be in Congress. The event that pushed me over the edge was in the fall when Brian Bilbray did not vote to override the president's veto of the Children's Health Care Initiative. I'm for universal health care. When decisions are made about war, they will be uppermost in my mind because people are not exchangeable, and one man's death does diminish me. And as a school psychologist, I've learned to deal with bullying. And I imagine that bullying happens sometimes in Congress. But whether it's an 8-year-old or a 58-year-old, I recognize the tactics and I have the emotional stamina to deal with it. Now there's something that I think is a sort of a central theme in my life that is exemplified in my website, and that has to do with information and making information available to people. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I've had a fighting spirit in me all my life. I'm part Irish. Maybe it's why I like green. And the politician in me has stepped forward because I need to be in Congress. And I'm asking each of you to be my partner and help me get there.